I've recruited my mum and dad to help me do the last big part of Trouble's strip down, which is taking off the steering box. Trouble doesn't have a steering rack, as my dad let us know last time.
Hasn't got a steering rack.
Is it not?
It's got a steering box.
Hasn't got a steering rack. All I need to do, in theory, is undo 2 castellated nuts, put in my taper popper thingy-majig, the thing that looks like a lobster claw, pop the other 2 tapers off, which are connected to the drop link on the steering box. Those steering arms should come off, win, and then the steering box is held on with once the steering box should come off. Once the steering box should come off, my steering wheel nut. My parents have fallen asleep, so it looks like I'm on my own. Was that boring?
No, it wasn't. It was lovely.
Anyway, right, let's go. We're back with another video on Trouble's restoration. We've so nearly finished the strip down. For a little spoiler, this is day 27 of 29. Really, not much left to do. So let's get into it. As I said in the intro, we're taking my Porsche's 356's steering off today, removing the steering arms, the wheel, the column, and the box. I started by undoing the nut that held the steering wheel to the steering column. It was going to be much easier to undo while still attached to the steering mechanism. I could have used the mechanical advantage of the steering box and steering arms to resist any rotation. But in the end, just holding the steering wheel was enough. I'll turn it the other way.
Hang on a minute, I'm doing all the work.
Right, oh, this is my horn push. This is my steering wheel nut.
Wash?
These are very expensive. Steering wheel washer, which is a bit bent.
Even more expensive.
And here's my steering wheel.
Push.
So Mum's just cataloguing the steering wheel. What am I going to do with that? Right, that is that. Cool. Steering column will come off in one big lump. With the steering wheel off, my dad and I started undoing the nuts on the ends of the tapered ball joints on the steering arms, and then popped them off the steering box. How long does it take you to undo a nut? Come on, don't be out here all night.
Can you pass me a ratchet?
No, come on, you can get it off with that, okay?
Easy with the ratchet.
With all the castellated nuts finally off, we could split the ball joints. For those who don't know, castellated nuts have the name because they look like the top of a turret on a castle. These little slots are designed so you could put a split pin through the bolt which they go on.
Oh. It's quite loaded up.
There isn't much that can go wrong with a steering arm, as long as it isn't bent. Fortunately, Trouble's look pretty straight, so I think I'll get away with just replacing the ball joints at the ends. Online, I can buy 4 for about £50, which honestly isn't too bad.
It's gone.
Once both steering arms had successfully made me jump, I disconnected the steering column from the box, but before I could do that, we had to bend back some tab washers and undo the clamp bolt. Tab washers are usually consumable parts. If you're lucky, you can sometimes reuse them, but in this case, I'm almost certain I'll be replacing them. They're so fiddly to bend back. I find a sharp cold chisel works best to get between the tab and the bolt, but if anyone has a better idea, get it in the comments. We're now going to take the steering column off. She has 2 clamping bolts. With the column unclamped from the box, I undid the dash column clamp and carefully threaded the indicator, high beam and horn wires through the dash. I made sure they didn't snag. With everything undone, it was time to remove the steering column. I pull and nothing happens. A wiggle, a twist, and finally with one last tug, it's free.
Happy?
One steering column.
Happy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. You're so chuffed with that, aren't you?
Send a picture to Eddie.
The last job was to remove the steering box itself, clamped to one of the torsion bar tubes. It's held in place by 4 bolts, each with their own tab washer.
The remains of a tab washer. I don't know how they did these up. Must have been Houdini. So, right.
The clamping cup, or whatever you want to call it, needed some persuasion from the hammer to move.
Yeah, it's coming.
Bottom half.
And now,
Oh, yeah, but how do you lift it up?
You're going to pull it to you. Pull it.
yeah, there you got it.
Independent woman.
But once it was off, my mum just lifted the steering box out of the car. And just like that, another step closer to finishing Trouble's restoration.
Yes! You take the baby.
No, I don't want it. It's filthy.
I don't want it.
I don't want it. Okay, where am I going to
Right.
put it?
On the tray under this car.
Steering is all out. That was it.
Tray with a bit.
Loads of gunk in there that needs to be scraped out. My apparently very rare beaver tail
For the Abe Smasher.
exhaust pipe for my Iber Special. Cool, we're done. That's it. Solid sh. The steering box is out. That was the last big thing to take out of Trouble. She is now running gear-wise, completely stripped. Here is the steering box. I thought, considering I just edited that video, great opportunity to get it out of the shed. Since we took it off, haven't really done much to it. We catalogued it, put it in this box, and out of sight, out of mind type thing. It is still filthy, just as it came off Trouble. But, you know, pros, it can't rust when it's this greasy, so it's been well stored. Some people grease stuff for storage, didn't need to do that. Pre-greased for storage. But yeah, I don't think it's going to take very long to restore. I am going to be restoring this. There is no reason why this steering box can't go back on Trouble. If you just watch me turn the kind of like, I'm not really sure what it's called, but like the top steering arm, maybe, crank, whatever you want to call it, As I turn it from its two extremes, the steering column drive rotates, and it rotates so nicely. So yeah, there's no reason why this shouldn't be able to just be cleaned up, painted, and then put back on the car. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a like. If you have any comments or questions, get them in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss me transform this greasy, monstrous steering box into something that looks like this, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.